Hello everyone and welcome to a new discussion. In this is in few parts. So, first part is which we are going to discuss is hydrological cycle. As the term indicates, that it is a cycle. So, that means from where we start we come back there. But this is very interesting hydrologic cycle or a cycle which very prominently in a established manner exists on the surface of the earth and because of atmosphere and other factors. So, if we see that there are basically three components here, we can say one is the hydrosphere, another one is atmosphere and third one is the upper part of lithosphere. These are the three medium in which water of the earth circulates. So, water this circulates overall, and then we are having the other components like precipitation which is a input to the hydrologic cycle, but there are losses from these inputs either to like evaporation or evapotranspiration through vegetation also or through direct from water bodies. There are the precipitation occurs. So, then we are having inception here, and that inception might be because of rocks and other flows are there, and then interceptions are there, and then through fall directly it can come, then interception in the storage also. Some water may go back as a through the evapotranspiration loss. There are when the precipitation occurs through fall, and then you are having overland flow also. Then some water may go in form of interfiltration, then it is goes to the first encounter is soil surface if soils are there. So, through unsaturated soils, but there too the losses may occur through evaporation. If vegetation is there, through evapotranspiration combinedly, then through this soil or moisture, then you are having an interflow, and then that interflow may go in a channel storage, and then finally it may turn off as runoff, and this runoff again goes to the seas, and there are evaporations, and this cycle continues. Similarly, the channel flow can also have a base flow connection and saturated groundwater storage through groundwater recharge, and there is an again connection to the losses. So, this cycle continues. So, the circulation of water from oceans to the atmosphere, and the atmosphere to lithosphere, and then again lithosphere to oceans occurring through a complex and interdependent processes, as you have seen through this flow chart that several these processes are interdependent, and that includes the precipitation, the runoff, groundwater flow, evaporation, transpiration or evapotranspiration combinedly is called hydrologic cycle. So, this is how the hydrologic cycle can be defined here. So, hydrologic cycle in sometimes people also called as the water cycle, which is it is normal water cycling system or recycling system on earth. The interesting part is that whatever the water available on earth or in atmosphere remain within earth system. It cannot go beyond earth system. So, this is very interesting thing that of course, on the earth or on other planets might also be there, but the atmosphere is since other planets like on Mars it is very thin. So, how good that water cycle is going on there, those things are being studied, but on the surface on the earth not even a single droplet of water goes out of earth system. So, it remains on the earth either in the lithosphere, either in the atmosphere or in the oceans, that is hydrosphere. So, this is a very dynamic, continuously all works are going on, and on almost I would say any and every part of the earth. So, dynamic and complex this global water cycle is. So, as here also you can see that if I start from say cloud formation. So, the evaporation and transpiration they are supplying moisture, high moisture for the clouds to form, and after the condensation then you are having precipitation, and then there are like if there are snow covered or glacier areas, then sublimation process will also occur. Water is stored in form of glaciers or ice sheets like Antarctica or Greenland in a form of ice. So, that also we consider as water storage. Then interception losses are there because of what not all the water is reaching to the earth. And then snow melt runoff streams, then surface runoff, evaporation directly from water bodies, infiltration might occur that may percolate to the groundwater regime. These groundwater regimes can create springs also, groundwater recharge or discharge occurs. Then freshwater storage is also there as surface water body, then groundwater storage is there, finally it ends up ultimately in the oceans, and then again the cycle starts. So, that is why the term cycle is very appropriate for this kind of a complex and dynamic system. It deals with the depletion and replenishment of water resources. That is another. So, today the water is getting evaporated or evapotranspirated and going into the atmosphere, but tomorrow it may condense, the clouds may condense and form a precipitation. It may not be necessary from where it has gone it will occur, but it depends on the wind conditions and other things. But nonetheless, the water which is available in the earth system will remain in the earth system, nowhere it cannot escape anywhere. So, what are the major components or major processes of hydrologic cycle? We will go in one by one. So, first is precipitation, second is runoff, third one is evaporation, fourth one is condensation, fifth one is transpiration, and then evapotranspiration, and the seventh one is the infiltration and storage, and finally interceptions. So, all these processes are part of hydrologic cycle, and on the right figure all these processes have been incorporated to depict what is basically a dynamic and complex global water cycle is there. So, precipitation, which this flow chart we have already seen. So, precipitation basically is the atmosphere discharge of water in the solid hail or liquid form, rain, form on the earth's surface. So, sometimes people get confused when we say precipitation, it includes all kinds of precipitation, snow, hail and rain, and when we say rainfall, and then only we are having water, not snow or hail. So, in a more scientific manner, whenever the water is coming from atmosphere towards the earth, we use term, more appropriate term is precipitation, which includes all forms of water, including snow and hails, which are ice, and of course, the water. And some of the precipitation is intercepted, as we have already discussed that not everything is just directly coming on the surface of the earth. If there are vegetations, forest, then it is intercepted, and then whatever the remaining part which fall through on the surface. So, that is what then it may get converted, large part gets converted into runoff, otherwise some part may go other. So, interception is also occurred. Now, this is another point which I want to discuss. Earlier in one of the lectures I have said about this. Today I will more emphasize on this with especially particularly reference to India, that the distribution, duration, intensity and frequency of occurrence of precipitation over India is changing. We can link directly, as people would like to prefer, as global climate changes which are occurring. So, but as discussed in the previous discussion, that overall precipitation in terms of total rainfall or total precipitation falling over India in last 120 years have almost remained same. The total volume of water which has fallen over India have remained same. However, there are many things which has changed. It has redistributing, like Cherrapunji is no more highest rainfall place of India. It has shifted to Mosingam. Similarly, the duration of rain season is also getting reduced, and in this connection the intensity of rain is increasing, which is causing flooding in many parts of India. So, duration has reduced, whereas intensity has number of days of rainy days have reduced, and there are changes in the frequency, and further it has been studied that in last 120 years the timing of rainfall has also changed. Our monsoon, summer monsoon system and winter monsoon system is now shifting by about 20 days, or you can say roughly by 3 weeks in many places. So, this is another thing, because our agriculture practices, if they do not follow these changes, the global changes which are causing, or especially the climatic changes which are causing over India, then we are having some problem with agriculture practices. So, accordingly we have to develop our agriculture system so that we can cope with the changes which are occurring of precipitation in terms of distribution, duration, intensity and frequency. So, these are the primary factors which are very important, which controls the distribution of water on the land surface, and of course, when it is all groundwater is directly connected, so subsurface or groundwater. Now, precipitation data from number of adjacent stations can be employed to interpolate a surface, which we do regularly on a GIS platform, and this data can be used to compute the total water potential of a region. So, that is also being practiced in many parts of India with that kind of technology which is available today. You require data, then you require an appropriate interpolation technique, you do it and you can estimate the requirements. As the when evaporation occurs, the steam or vapours, and the more appropriate word would be vapours, at the vapours rises in the atmosphere, it is being cooled, condensed and returned to the land and the sea as precipitation. Why it cooled? Because as you go higher in the away from the earth surface, the temperature decreases. So, there the vapours get cooled, then it is the condensation process occurred, and when the clouds becomes saturated, can't hold any more moisture, then it falls as in form of precipitation. So, precipitation falls on the surface of earth as water and shapes of surface, or maybe in form of hail or snow, and creating the streams of water that results in lakes and rivers. But all the time the water falling on the surface may not create streams. Very interesting fact I can share with you, like if you go in desert conditions, and I am talking about Indian deserts like Jaisalmer and other areas, and if you drive on road, you would find that hardly on the road you are having culverts or bridges, though some rainfall is occurring every year there, but whatever the water comes from I would say heaven or from sky, almost all that water either flow only for some time. So, surface runoff is very little, and most of the water goes to subsurface condition. Why? Because soil, that is first of all is a loose sand, and it can store lot of precipitated water. So, you do not, then natural drainage system is not developed. So, when natural drainage system is not developed, then you do not see these bridges or culverts or any other thing. So, it is not all the time that whatever the precipitation is occurring, it will create streams and other lakes also. So, in these areas, the desert areas you do not find. So, this is condensation another thing. As part of precipitation water, and some part may percolate to ground, and that moves downward further, and then through fractures, incision, pore spaces and other things, having if better permeability is there, then and then forming aquifers. There are different types of aquifers. When this discussion will come, we will have, but very briefly let me introduce the rocks or the areas in subsurface conditions where water can be stored, and that is called aquifers. So, finally, a part of surface and underground water basically ultimately leads to the sun as to the sea, as also shown in this right figure or a schematic. that it ultimately ends up there, and which is a large component of hydrologic cycle, the oceans, seas. So, during this journey water is converted in all phases, gas, liquid and solid, and this keep happening all the time all over the globe, and water always changes different states between liquid, vapor, ice, and with these processes happening in the blinks of an eye and over millions of years. So, you know that the earth age has been estimated about 4.6 billion years. So, at least we know that before that or even since then this cycle, water cycle has been going on, and not even a single drop of water, droplet of water has gone out of our system, but still there are problems of water, maybe excess water in form of flooding or maybe droughts because of lack of water. So, it is probably poor management, more requirement are creating water problem, otherwise nature is maintaining since 4.6 billion years. So, due to this solar radiation, the solar radiation also plays our important role here. So, then water evaporates, and that makes the vapors, and that vapor goes in the atmosphere, that makes the clouds, then precipitation. So, generally from the sea and lakes or surface water reservoirs, and even from rivers also water, in large rivers also evaporate water. So, water also evaporates from plant leaves in form of evapotranspiration, and that is the mechanism is well known. So, that forest is also there, and wherever large agricultural fields are there, like let me give you the example of Indo-Gangetic plain, especially the western UP area. If you see that all the time this area is having the agricultural land is always green, because there is plenty of water supply, the soils are very suitable for growing crops. So, the farmers they do not leave any land or their fields, their farms empty any time of the season. So, they are having 4 crops, continuously greenery is there, and that means more evapotranspiration, and that means high humidity in this region, and that is why in monsoon time these such areas are having real very difficult timing. Now, second thing after precipitation, the evaporation is the process by which water precipitated on the earth's surface is returned back to the atmosphere by vaporization. So, from liquid form it gets converted to air form or vapor form, and the rate of evaporation will depend on several interrelated factors, and this increase or decrease will also depend on barometric pressure, increase in air and water temperature, sunshine, wind velocity, dryness of air, that is the humidity which I have just talked, and purity of water. There will be more evaporation from pure water than impure water or polluted water. So, these are the increases with decrease in barometric pressure. So, if you are having less barometric pressure, it will have more evaporation. Increase in air and water temperature. So, if the temperature high like monsoon time, I gave the example of western UP or this part of Indo-Gangetic plain where temperatures are high. So, the air temperature is high, water temperature is high. So, more evaporation, more humidity in the atmosphere, and of course, sun shining. And after this rain, if sunshine is there, that sunshine it reaches without much hindrance to the surface of the earth. So, that too creates a faster humidity or water vapor, and hardly whenever there is rain, then there might be wind velocity, otherwise generally then wind velocity is near 0. So, that also creates problem. Water is available for evaporation from, we know that there are different sources. So, mainly 3 kind of major sources are there: open water surfaces like oceans, seas, lakes, even rivers, large rivers can also provide water for evaporation directly to the atmosphere. Ground surface, if surface is moist, having high moisture, it is saturated with water, there is a sunshine, there is high temperature, and if there is a wind, then more evaporation will occur from ground surface too. And then of course, the vegetation in form of this evapotranspiration, so that too occurs. So, this basically brings our discussion to the end in this section. In the second part of hydrologic cycle, we will see further about other parameters which influences our hydrologic cycles. Thank you very much. Bye bye.